In today's video, I'm going to go over Intrepid Studios' first development update stream of 2022 as of the month of January. There's of course a lot to talk about, and I'll leave chapter markers below so you can browse at your own convenience. Let's jump right in. If you missed the December monthly update, there was some pretty big news, at least from an outsider's perspective. Intrepid announced that they're making the switch from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. In January's stream, so the one that just took place, they said that as of Monday, the entire Intrepid team has completed their ports over to UE5, which is of course good news because that process does cause a delay in time. This switch should make the team more efficient and save time in the long run. And as you can see, we got immediate noticeable improvements to the game's visuals, in particular the lighting. The lighting in this video clip is probably some of the best MMO lighting that I've ever personally seen. We don't really know how long Ashes is going to take to get to its official release, so I think that this is really good news that they have upgraded to newer technology, which should not only help with overall efficiency, but also help this MMO not fall behind the times like many other MMOs do with their insanely long development periods. Unfortunately, in the January update, we didn't really get a new gameplay video, so in this stream I'll be using a lot of footage from the Alpha 1 and also previous development updates. As far as a studio update goes, Steven says that things are going good, and they just hired 6 new devs in January alone. There is of course more hiring to be done as the company has a lot of aggressive growth goals. It seems like Steven has a good handle on how he envisions this game, so hopefully a larger team will only add to that vision. It's kind of different than many other MMO companies where you might have the higher-ups going to other higher-ups that go to even higher-ups who don't actually play video games themselves to make decisions on the game. In terms of the game's design, there is a lot currently being worked on. Management of the economic systems in relation to the ever-changing world with the nodes. The team is working on re-architecturing, is that a word? The class structures and forming the bread and butter of the archetypes along with the hybrid class possibilities. They're of course working very hard on the new combat prototypes, which is something that many of us are very ready to see. At this point in the stream, Steven accidentally revealed to us that max level in the Alpha 2 will likely be level 35. It's not a guarantee, but that does seem to be their goal. This is huge news for Alpha players and viewers alike, as it really does seem like Alpha 2 is going to be quite a different experience than what we experienced in Alpha 1. One of the most interesting things, in my opinion, that they said that they're working on is adding objective-based instanced activities during the large-scale sieges in the game. So if I use a castle siege as an example here, let's say that it's 250 versus 250, while the majority of players will be with the mass of their force, there will be times when small strike force teams need to be formed and then sent off into an instance where they can battle for an objective that will influence the overall battle when it concludes. These small objective-based activities will likely be around 10v10 in terms of numbers. Personally, I think that this is really awesome news as it will add another element to the sieges. These objective-based activities will offer a more controlled skill-based atmosphere as opposed to playing the numbers game with Zergs, and hopefully this way we'll have the best of both worlds in these crazy big battles. This also allows for more excitement for individual players, as players can participate in smaller events where they may feel more like their actions truly matter. Another exciting aspect that the devs are working on, and this is something that we'll likely get to take a look at ourselves in the near future, and that is the character creator. The intent here is to offer one of the most customizable character creators that you've ever seen in an MMO. This is of course great news in my opinion, as any game where you spend potentially thousands of hours, in-game hours, with one character, it's always nice to be able to play a truly unique looking character that you're also happy with their appearance. From the sounds of it, there will be sliders for all sorts of customization. Steven even mentioned being able to customize your character's calf sizes. So be on the lookout for an inside peek of this, hopefully in the next development update stream. And the last thing I'll mention in the design department is that Intrepid is working on a new AI infrastructure. The goal is to allow the AI mobs to have a chance of doing things that you might not expect when you're fighting them, so hopefully making the game less boring when you're fighting regular enemies. The AI is going to have abilities outside of their regular abilities that have a small percentage chance of going off in a combat encounter. From what I understood, it sounds like there will be a pool of abilities that are selected on a more random basis, but these abilities only have, let's say, a 15% chance of actually being used in a combat encounter. This will make it so that you can learn the AI, but you never truly know what they could end up doing. Another thing in terms of the AI, but this time it's non-combat focused, is that it may be possible to do things such as working with AI factions and having them partake in the voting process for electing a mayor. Intrepid didn't really elaborate on this part too much, but it's definitely interesting stuff, and I look forward to hearing more on this subject. Now let's get into the art models and then end with the Q&A. What you're seeing right now, believe it or not, is a dwarf. Some of you may not have thought that dwarves even existed in this game because the previous models looked more akin to ninja gnomes. This is the Dunir dwarf, so a subrace of the dwarf, and I have to say that I am very impressed with the model. As a dwarf player myself, I can say that I'm finally proud to play this race, and hopefully we get to do it in the Alpha 2. Intrepid is still including their other subrace of dwarves called the Nikoa dwarves, and we also got a new look at that subrace. Personally, I'm all for innovation of the traditional races, as long as we still have those more traditional choices to fall back on if we don't like the new innovation. I'm excited to have both of these types of dwarves present in the game. Along with the dwarves, we also got to see some tier 5 dwarven armor, and this is a good representation of what endgame armor can look like. Intrepid doesn't want armor to be too fantastical looking in this game. They want to keep things a bit more grounded while also allowing for the armor to have that really epic look. I personally absolutely love this, and I'm happy with the style that they're going with. Up next is the Dec Orc face models. This is something that we have not seen before, and I gotta say, once again, I personally love their take. The Dec are a stargazing philosophic subrace of the Orc, and these models do certainly seem to give off that appearance. Some of you guys are probably thinking of trolls in World of Warcraft. There will still, of course, be your more traditional brute-looking Orc as shown in this model, and Intrepid also told us that each subrace will have its own unique body stances and walking animations. Next up, we have a boat. Not that exciting, but the info that goes with it is exciting. This is one of the early boats that you can acquire in the game, or of course build if you decide to delve into boat crafting. The cool thing about these lower tier boats is that you'll be able to construct and launch them from basically anywhere on the coast of a body of water. The larger, more advanced ships will require established harbors to be built and launched. These smaller boats can be used for water traversal, especially in areas where big boats may not be able to travel, and of course it's a great way to do some fishing. It wouldn't be an Intrepid stream without mounts, and here we got to take a look at the soft spine or salt spine, I'm not really sure what they said. A really cool looking beefy lizard mount. And also the in-game achievable skin for this hippo looking mount, and also a slight variant to go with it. Right here we have some more armor. This is the regalia of the plated heart armor. As always, the attention to detail of the armor is spectacular. And last but not least, we have some cute fox pets that resemble the fox of the Pyre mount. These particular pets will not have special in-game mechanics tied to them. They're strictly made to just follow you around and look cute. Now on to the last part of the video, the answers to the Q&A. Currently, there are no plans for Underrealms naval content, but it is a possibility in a future expansion. The Underrealms is the Underdark area of this world, so for now, naval content will be kept to only the surface world. As some of you are already aware from a previous development update stream, some of the Bard's group buffs will require players in that group to get into specific formations for the buffs to go off. Requiring these formations, however, will not be a primary function of the Bard's buffs. There will be plenty of non-formation buffs to go along with it. Stealth can be used for various things in the game. It can be used to clear hate on your character, which is basically aggro. It can be used to navigate past NPCs to get to certain areas, and it of course can also be used to give you time to pick out targets on the battlefield, and of course sneak up to them to catch them by surprise. There will be group mounts in the game, and they will be more rare and more difficult to acquire than many of the regular mounts. Group mounts can have some really powerful capabilities, such as having weapon systems on them, so they have to be more difficult to obtain because of their potential power. As many of us are already aware, regular mounts will have their own skills, some of which are combat skills, and these skills will depend on things such as the particular mount's breed. Examples of some of these skills would include a charge attack, which can knock down players, and there's also several defensive capability skills. In regards to corruption is something that should always be addressed because letting it get out of hand can cause several negative effects for a node in the surrounding area. Too much corruption in an area can cause the frequency of NPC-driven attacks on a node to increase, which can of course have the effect of disabling buildings and services far more often. Corruption that is not addressed in a node's area will make a node more susceptible to sieges. And that'll be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in some more Ashes content, I do have a playlist dedicated to this game alone. I've done quite a few videos over the past year or year and a half or so. I'll definitely start covering these monthly development update streams. Once again, I missed the last two, but I don't think I missed any of them before that. I'm going to get back on it just for you guys. Catch you on the next one.